Hey guys, it's Ashley. Long time no see. So my video is definitely later than anticipated, but I had to wait for the weather to get a little bit nicer because it was just way too hot. So I'm here underneath my favorite willow tree in Hidden Lakes, and this is just a beautiful, relaxing spot, and I thought it would be a great place to talk to you about journaling. I have kept a paper journal almost every day since I was 8 years old. That's a lot of memories. And what I've done is chosen a few journals that just cover, if you guys hear a strange sound, it's bicycles going over a bridge. But I picked a few things that just kind of show different ways you can journal. I am asked all the time, Ashley, I want to start journaling, but how? I don't know what to write, or I feel silly, or my journals are boring, or what if someone reads them? My information here is nothing spectacular. It's nothing that anyone has not already said. It's nothing that you can't already find in a video on YouTube. But it's my perspective, and I really wanted to have a place where I have all this information compiled into one video so that I can easily share it across the board whenever I get journaling questions, which is usually on a weekly basis because everyone knows how passionate I am about journaling. So I've made a little outline here. If you see me looking down at my notes, because there's so many things that I really want to cover. This is going to be a completely journaling 101 introduction, the basics. Okay? And don't overthink this, because I promise you by the end of this video, my hope is that you will have found something of value that I said, and also that you will want to pick up a pen and write immediately. That's the goal. That's the hope. Okay? So I want to talk about how journaling can benefit you. Why journal? Why bother, right? So the brain is an amazing thing. You retain so many memories that you somewhat remember, but not really. But it's kind of like journaling can become a time capsule. It can become a memory keeper. It can become a time machine. Kind of like how if you hear a song that you haven't heard in a while, all of a sudden you remember being in that place, smelling those smells. A journal, when you go back and read your words, it's like it teleports you back. So it's really good to help retain memories of the daily small things that you would have otherwise possibly forgotten. For example, me recording this video today in this beautiful weather in this gorgeous spot, feeling this breeze on my face. It's also personal daily time to reflect. When you sit down and you journal, you can think about your day. You can think about things that happened. It's just almost like meditative after a while. One of my favorite things about journaling is that it's a healthy release. I am all for your mental health, going and talking to friends and family and health professionals. However, sometimes, for me personally, I will be in such a negative mindset that I don't want to project it onto anyone else. And sometimes I'm just not ready to talk about certain things yet, and that's okay. But that's one reason why I love the journal. I have a lot of different mental health conditions, and I can say things that I don't mean and feel things I don't mean out of intense emotions. So it helps me to get that onto paper where I'm not projecting it onto anyone else. I'm not harming anyone. I'm getting it out of my head, putting it in the pages, and letting it go. It's a healthy way to vent and to release any types of stress or tension. You can write letters to people that you will never send in here and say things that you need to say if you aren't able or just not ready yet to say them. It's a great way to manifest your dreams. I can't tell you how many times I look back in these stacks of journals and I see things that I wished for, that I dreamed about, that have come to fruition. And it's a really cool way to make lists and make dreams and have it all in like one little place. There are so many therapeutic benefits to journaling, so much so that it's actually very, very big in prisons and in psychiatric hospitals. While I have never been to prison, thank you, knock on wood, I have been in psychiatric hospitals. I had a 3-month-long stay when I was a teenager, and it was a very intense time. And journaling was very important there. And the majority of the kids that were with me were not already journaling. I had been for quite some time. So to me, it was very natural. For them, it was almost like this completely new medium. And the professionals always say, like, journaling is such a healthy thing to do. There's so many benefits. It's so therapeutic. Also, you can show yourself how far you've come just by looking back on some old journals. It's like this beautiful index of books all about you. And no one has to see them but you, unless you choose to share them. We'll get into that later, though. In a world full of social media, where we feel compared to everyone, journaling is something that's only for you and you alone. If you choose for it to be, I personally do. It's something that doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have good handwriting. Lord knows I don't. You don't have to draw good. You don't have to have a specific type of journal. If you want to have doodles on one page and scrapbooking on the next, there's no rules, okay? There's no rules. Get that out of your head right now, first and foremost, because that's something that I hear a lot. Well, I don't know how, or what if I do it wrong? There's no wrong. There's no wrong. It is your journal. It is your book, and it can be filled with your thoughts and your feelings. And there's no rules. Every single blank page is a new possibility for you. There's all different types of journaling, and sometimes you can try a few different things to find what works for you, but don't feel like you need to have one kind and just stick to it. You can do all kinds of different journals. So for some ideas, my favorite thing tends to be brain dumping, which is where you just open up your book, you have your page. I always write the date in the top corner, and the day of the week, and I just start writing. Whatever pops into my mind, I write. I could go from a million different subjects. It's not like I'm writing a paper or a report where I feel like it has to have structure and formatting. It's not. It's just literally getting thoughts out of my head onto paper. There's also scrapbooking style journaling, where you can glue in, paper, washi tapes, photographs, anything your heart desires. Stick it on that page. There's bullet and planner style journaling, where you make your daily to-do lists. You make little codes like chore charts. There's historical keepsake journals, where you have a journal specifically meant to pass down in your family, where you share things that you wouldn't mind being read, things that can become a treasured heirloom through time. There's the Hobonichi/Fobonichi/art journaling, which is where you do a combination of doodles or stickers along with your words to talk about your day. There's Today I Did journaling, where you just literally document each day. There are prompts. If you don't know what to write, there are a million wonderful writing prompts completely free out there that you can find. You can look up journaling prompts on YouTube or Google, and I guarantee you something will spark your interest. There's also lots of journaling apps. You can even just journal in the notes in your phone. You don't even have to have an actual journal. But I recommend doing it on paper. I find more value for me personally doing it that way, but it's completely optional. Like I said, there is no right or wrong way to journal. Let's talk about materials, okay? You need a pen and something to write on. Done. You want to find a pen that you really, really enjoy writing with. It will make your experience so much better, and you will become a pen snob. Not all pens are created equal, and that's okay. As far as your journal, there's so many different kinds, but you want to make sure you have one that you like holding, you like feeling, you like the paper, you like the line spacing or the dots or the grids, whatever you prefer. But you need to make sure that you get a journal that feels right in your hands, because it will make you want to write in it more, and it will feel like a friend sooner if you really like connect with it, because it does. A journal becomes a friend. It becomes something that you can't wait to pick up and be like, and confide in. So it's really important that you like what you have. You don't have to go to Barnes & Noble and buy a $30 leather journal. I have had one. I have had everything from 99-cent composition books to expensive leather Italian-made journals. And you know what? They all do the same thing for me. Just do whatever works for you. There is no shame in using a composition book as your journal. None at all. I recommend trying to come up with a journaling routine starting out, because at first you won't have that, oh, I need a journal feeling. So at first you might need to set out some time specifically in your day. For example, I like to journal in the morning and I like to journal at night, but there's often times I pick it up throughout the day. But create a ritual. Make yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Sit down in a comfy chair, put a blankie on, snuggle. Make it a ritual that you look forward to, not a chore that you dread. Remember, this is something positive that is for you and you alone. So do whatever feels right for you. Another way you can kind of start journaling is you can set a timer on your phone for 5 or 10 minutes and just write until the timer's off. Just brain dump, just get it out there. Oftentimes if I do that, I end up continuing to write. So there's always that. But that's a good way to kind of get going if you just don't have much time or you just kind of want to get something down on the page. For me personally, journaling has been such a outlet for basically as long as I can remember. I brought a few different journal styles to show you today, but keep in mind there's no right or wrong way. This journal was a very important chapter of my life. This was my sophomore year of high school. And it's funny because all over this journal, I wrote Ashley Elizabeth Grandel. And that ended up being my boyfriend at this time. And I ended up marrying him. So it's really cute to read, to go back in this journal and read the moment that we met and the moment we started dating. And this journal is full of teenage angst, and it's pretty much just writing only. There are some doodles in here, lots of I love Damons. There's all kinds of stuff, but there's a lot of raw emotion in here and a lot of things in high school about my high school class that, people I've even forgotten that were just make it or break it to me in this journal. This journal, number 2, is special because it's the first time that I started doing something I had never done before. First pages can be daunting. So on this page, I started doing kind of like an index. Let me talk about that. So sometimes you want to go back in a journal and you're like, okay, once you've been journaling for a while, you kind of forget what's what. So what I do on the first page of every journal, because blank pages are scary, is I write important events. Now this doesn't mean we have a new president, something catastrophic has happened. This means life-changing events, or in this journal, I wrote in parentheses, or cool shit. I was 16. That happened during this time in your life. So you can flip to the first page in any of my journals and see basically an index of important things that happened in this book. I highly recommend that for doing first pages because it takes a lot of pressure off, because first pages are kind of scary. So you can just write important events, flip to the next page, and start writing. In this journal, I got my first cell phone. I graduated high school, got my first job. I went to the Indiana Dunes and swam in a very big lake for the first time. I got my first car. I got my dog Gizmo. I met my dad for the first time. Like, there's so many things that you can look back and just be like, wow, like this is a chronological history of my life. And it doesn't matter when you start, like it's never too late to start. So these two journal examples are writing only, which is kind of what my current journal also is. It's just mainly writing only. That tends to be my go-to, but there's been times that I have branched out in other ways. So I'm going to share some of that with you. On the first page, I also always write the month started and the month ended. So for example, this one was August 2013 until January 2014. This journal is a mixture of handwriting and tape-ins, cards, photos, a check from a babysitting job, a letter from a friend. There's so many different things. For example, in this one, we went to Fright Fest, and I even kept the 2013 Fright Fest from Six Flags map in here, which is so cool to look back on. You can make little envelopes, you can use stickers, you can decorate. You can do so many things. Here we went to a corn maze and completed it, and I taped in like the bracelet that we wore. This was the actual corn maze and the little stamps from the different spots that we went to. More cards and pictures. That was us the night of the corn maze. This was a Korean spa that I went to, and it's the little pamphlet from there. So you can do all kinds of like tip-ins, chopsticks even. Food receipts, anything that is important to you that you want to document. I went into the hospital, so I even have this electric thing for my EKG on here. There's a piece of a Coke can because this one nurse knew how thirsty I was, and she was just so kind to me. My room I was in. There are so many ways to journal. This was the hospital menu. And when I look at these things, when I look at this picture of that hospital room and I see those balloons and those flowers and these pressed flowers and ribbons from that balloon, it's kind of like having your own museum. It's like this was there. Around this time when I got out of the hospital, I decided to sign up for college. So towards the back here, there's a bunch of things from my college that I was going into. And it's just a very cool way to document things. I had went to American Girl in Chicago. So you get the idea. It's a scrapbook style journal. This was a nail salon that I went to. Again, the American Girl store. All kinds of things. We decorated a gingerbread house, and that was a piece of the box. This journal was filled very quickly because of all the tape-ins and things that were pasted, but it's one of my favorite journals to date. I think the reason it's one of my favorite journals is because it is very much one of those time machine journals. I don't have to actually pay attention and like read entries and kind of find things in writing, because I can flip through and see that visual reminder and boom, I'm back at that corn maze, remembering everything. This journal I did in 2010. Again, we have the important stuff as the first page. And this one, my cousin was born. I had emergency surgery. I was proposed to. I started working as a teacher. And this one is a little different. It's a combination of colorful pens and scratchy doodles, and none of these doodles are good, okay? That's another thing. It doesn't have to be good art. It just has to be expressing yourself. So most of this is writing, but there's some things that are extra, like this little tape-in I did from an email we had gotten at work. Once in a while, I would do a drawing. when my baby cousin was born. To-do lists. All kinds of stuff. Shout out to my best friend Stina. Do you remember this? If you don't know what to do, cover the page in stickers. More drawings. This was my 21st birthday, and that's the actual umbrella from my first legal drink. It's just another way to journal. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way. And you don't have to decide on one style at all. I'm just showing you different examples. This is what I used for my Fobonichi. So this one is a little unique. So a Hobonichi is a mixture of writing and drawing. So instead of doing like the today in this journal at the front, I had a page for each month, monthly highlights, and then each day was a different experience. A mixture of little tidbits of what I did that day, along with some drawings. And I used watercolor and stickers for this. This was actually 10/13, which is the date today in 2014. I know exactly what I was doing. That was something for my friend Barry. This is one of my favorite ways to journal, but it's something that I have to be in the mood to do. I'm not always in the mood to take the time to do little, watercolors. So one thing I struggled with is I always felt like I had to have a journal be the same way the entire way through. I don't do that anymore. If I want to paint, I paint. If I want to write, I write. There are no rules. Let me repeat that again. There are no rules with journaling. This is my current journal. It has a sticker on the front that's a portrait that my friend Amber made me. And it is a moleskin journal, but again, the journal is not important. The type of journal is not important. All that's important is that you find value in what you were doing, that you feel comfortable with the journal itself, and that you're making a routine that is therapeutic and beneficial for you. Remember, it doesn't matter what type of journal that you're using. It doesn't matter what style journaling you're doing. All that you need is some paper and a pen and go to town. Just sit down and start. Today I watched this video on YouTube about this random girl under a willow tree who said journaling changed her life. I think I want to try it out. I don't really know how, so I'm going to do this writing prompt. Pick a writing prompt and start. It's honestly as simple as that. Thank you for joining me and for sharing this beautiful day out here and just listening to me and how journaling has impacted my life. I truly think I would be in a much worse place without journaling. It's an outlet, it's my safe haven, and I really hope that someone, at least just one person, found value in something that I said here today. And I really hope that it inspires you to pick up a pen and a piece of paper and just write. One thing that Toasty, my emotional support sloth, and I want to really enforce is that there is no wrong or right way to journal. You can do it however you want to do it. Don't feel like you need to stick to one way. Remember, it is something that is for you and only you. Take the perfectionism out of it. Do something for just you. Take that time, prioritize that time. It's important, and I really think that it'll make you feel better at the end. Thanks for watching.